Welcome to the Noodle Podcast. We are Kate and Max, and we love noodling on what we've learned by accident. This podcast is a space where we share how we get the best out of ourselves and the people we've worked with. In today's episode, we talk about the benefits and challenges of providing just the right amount of information for your audience. It's generally less than we think it needs to be, but why is it so hard to explain a little when we know a lot? So today's podcast is Less is More.
Podcast number 4. And it's all going to be in
Rhyme.
for the whole podcast.
I can't do it. No. All right. So less is more. What are we talking about today?
So we're talking about the importance of being able to condense a lot of stuff into a manageable, consumable, understandable chunk. When do you need to do it? How do you do it? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But also a little bit about when people ask you to do it and you don't want to.
The resistance that you feel when you're told to take everything that you know and make it one sentence. And
yes.
Yeah, I know. I do resist that. It really irritates me. But there's so much value in being able to do it.
Yes.
So should we talk through some examples of when we learned that this was a skill and then how we've done it and some of the tools that have really helped us with that? Do you want to start?
I can. I don't know whether it's the first time, but certainly the most memorable time. It was quite painful, actually.
Was it?
So I was in the exciting world of complaints and customer relations.
Complaints handling.
Yeah, whoop, whoop. Very important for any organisation to have, though.
True.
Important, you've got to have your complaints process, and a great way of understanding what's not working and where, so you can see where all the little bits are popping up.
Yeah.
And so a good way of monitoring, have we got a problem? Okay, it's popped up. Okay, have we fixed it? Oh, the volume's going down, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So a good way of monitoring how you're getting on with your people, your systems, processes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But my job was at the exciting end of bean counting, which was gathering the data from each of the bits of this very big business.
Yeah.
And reporting to a regulatory body who was watching with a beady eye every month. How are you doing? How are you doing? And I had to take all this data and put it onto a dashboard.
Dashboard. Even the word dashboard used to make me go, I hate it. I hate
red, amber, greens.
But it's basically a simplified one-page report of all the data and often colour-coded, isn't it, into things you really need to watch out for. Or it's all tickety-boo.
Yes, a way of tracking the beginning and the end of a process and knowing that if you see a little warning sign there, or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So dashboards. And having to condense that data onto a dashboard and then having to put a set of words pre-Twitter into a tiny little box.
Yes.
It's part of this big spreadsheety the thing that was condensed onto one page.
And what would your set of words have said?
Well, it's all okay. No, it would have specifically talked about volumes increasing or decreasing or the impacts of changes that have been made, but you somehow to cover like the headlines from multiple businesses, multiple complaints, multiple projects into the 3 things you need to know this month are. With again,
for listeners,
without smiley faces.
For listeners who aren't necessarily watching this, more is your smiley face emoji. Or I've just realised why it's called a dashboard, because it's like having the warning light come on, ping, 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 flash. Yes. Pay attention to this.
Yeah, your water's low, fill it up.
Yes, tyre pressure.
Yeah. Well, you got a posh car, tyre pressure. Not on my car.
I've got a car that often has a tyre pressure warning light. I don't think it is that posh. There's a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
So when have you done something like that? If you think about condensing down.
Yes, I learnt it early on in my marketing career. So when you're working with creatives and you're the company that's asking them to come up with new TV ad for something, you have to really, like you were saying, get your data on your clients. Who are they? What do they need? What have you got that will help them? That's basically what's behind marketing. And then how do you get it across to them? Well, the creatives need to be the ones that come up with a great idea, but you've got to give them that information. And you have to do it in a pretty brief way. That's why it's called a brief, I've just realised. So briefing them in a way that gets the point across. You need to know all of your stuff. They don't need to know all of that. Being able to condense that down so that they can go off and do their thing. Okay, so the actors are going to be briefed on this and the film crew are going to be briefed on that and so on. That was really difficult, actually, taking all the information, trusting that you were condensing it into something and you weren't missing some really important key stuff. It didn't always work. And yeah, that's the thing when you're working with creatives, is sometimes you're going to go down routes that you're trying out. You get that information, it doesn't necessarily go anywhere. Hopefully you haven't spent too much money in between times.
You mentioned trust there, and I think that is a key part of the condensing process, which is whether you're talking to your team, whether you're talking to creatives or other people that need to understand, or whether you are responsible for passing messages to other important people in the organisation, is how do you do it in a way that gives them the critical information they need and builds the trust and confidence that you can keep doing that, so that every time you give them the one pager or the bottom line or the dashboard, is that they can go, oh, this is from Kate, I trust Kate, I know she gets this right, she always tells me what I need to know, and I believe her. And we do talk about trust more in another podcast, don't we? Because it's so crucial. But this, what you just said there about bottom lining, I love that when we're working with clients who want to tell you the whole backstory to why a particular issue is happening and what needs to happen and blah. Bottom line, what is the bottom line? What's the thing? It doesn't really matter about what got you to here, other than lessons learned. It's more about where are you at, what's going on. Okay, so what are we going to do with that? So I do use bottom lining quite a bit. And in continuous improvement type work as well. You have to be able to take a lot of information and just say, what is the thing? What's the main thing that we're going to be focusing on or prioritising? Well, that process of bottom lining is really important when you're working with a large, not necessarily with a large group of people, with a group of people, which is helping them to participate in that bottom lining process as well. So if you think about situations you've been in before when you've done some of your black belt stuff and not karate type. Do you want to say a little bit more about what that is?
Black belt Six Sigma, which kind of feeds into agile way of working, but it is about taking complex information or a lot of points of view and being able to say, okay, what is the thing that we know we need to work on? How do you do that? When say you've got a problem that's affecting a lot of different departments or functions or people, I used to get them together in a room, but these days with the pandemic happening, we can do it virtually, where you can say, okay, everyone, we're talking about this topic today, this particular pain point. What do you know? What are you hearing? What's really getting on your nerves? Get them all to put down their ideas, one idea per post-it note, whether that's in a real life situation or we have apps now that allow you to do the post-it notes and everyone can see the board together. And, just one idea per post-it or sticky note, and then get people to see what each other is writing. And often they go, oh, I've got one of those as well. So you get them to, literally put the ideas that are the same together and group them. Just start grouping these together. And you'll see from maybe, over 200 issues, we've brought that down to about 10 different topics. And of those topics, there's maybe 4 themes that keep on occurring where, the process isn't right or the people aren't skilled or there's something going on, there's a defect somewhere that's happening. And that is about that sort of getting people together, getting them engaged and helping them to vote for, right, we can see that the majority of our ideas or issues are in this area. If we fix this, we're going to have a knock-on effect of improving a lot of other things at the same time. Affinity diagrams. I love that tool. But
it's not just a tool to get to that answer through that process. You keep people with you. You make sure that their data that they hold, the thoughts they have, the intuitions they have, the instinct they have, is all factored into where you end up. Because you could sit in a corner, which I'm sure you and I have done on many occasions, and go, we know what the answer is. It's that, and that. But if we walked out and shared that, and that, the lights wouldn't go on for everybody. They wouldn't all sign up to, Kate makes a lot of sense, so I'll probably do some of that, but I'm not going to do all of it. Whereas when you involve everybody, and you involve everybody in the condensing process, if their thing isn't the main event, they can see why.
And that, I think, links into your realisation about the format model and the fact that people are different, but typically only in certain sorts of ways. When it comes to getting them on board with an issue or an idea, or needing to do something, whether it's change or just, maybe there's a restructure happening, or maybe there's a problem we're going to be spending our time fixing, or there's a great new idea that we want you to spend your time and energy on, then actually being able to tell that story in a way that taps into why should I?
Yes.
Why should I get on your bus? So do you want to say a little bit about format? Because that was a really great way of understanding.
Magic moments of wishing I'd known something sooner, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Picked it up, I think it's probably about 10 years ago, but it might be longer than that now.
Mm-hmm.
And learning it as part of some work I was doing at a conference for a load of managing directors. So this was part of them getting to the end of a 2-day experience and being able to summarise everything they'd been through to share with their teams when they got back to base camp. Now you'd think, a bunch of MDs like, you're going to teach me. I already know how to do this. But we were sharing with them the format model, which I hadn't known up until that point. But the idea behind the format model is exactly as you say, to be able to simplify your narrative in a way that talks to everybody, when we know that broadly there's about 4 different ways that people are interested in that information. So we start with why. What's the background? What's the context? Why are we even talking about this thing? What has brought us to here now?
So the burning platform. This is the issue that we've got. This is why you need to sit up and listen to the story about.
Or it could be an opportunity. It might not be an issue. It could still be, here's the situation's changed and the opportunity that's opened up.
Yes.
So it can be good things as well as fixed things.
So why is quite a big picture feel, isn't it? And I know you respond really well to that. I tend to be, just tell me what I have to do, and I need detail.
Well, the what comes next, which is, okay, if that's the context, what are we going to do about it? So then we clarify what, could we pick it up, put it in a wheelbarrow, take it away? What is it? What's the solution, the answer, the idea?
Yes.
And then how are we going to do it? So the how, which I know you also like, which is the how are we going to get this done? Whereas I'm always a bit like, we'll work that out when we get there. It's fine.
Yes.
I'm more interested also in the big picture aspect of where does it get us to? So that whole sort of sense of, in the future, therefore, we'll be able to, I don't know, skip gaily through this field because the world will be amazing and things will be better, or we fix this problem and we'll no longer have these breakages, or that sort of thing. But I think it's important as well, when you're sharing with people who you need to bring on board, is to be able to paint all 4 of those aspects.
Yes,
so
and tap into the psyche of anyone in your audience, whether that's your team, whether it's a larger group of people you know or don't know. You'd like you to have a mixture of people who need to know big picture or detail, the kind of what's been going on and what do we need to do next. Why is that going to work? Why should I listen to you? And it doesn't have to take long, does it?
No, not at all. I love it now because I use the framework, the format framework, for me to think through ideas. Like, why am I even thinking I need to communicate about this thing? Yes. And then what is it that I need to say? And then how am I going to actually share it with them? And then where's it going to get them to? So where is that going to shift people? So the model helps you to think things through. But it also allows you to make sure that everything that you've got in your narrative helps everybody understand it. And it helps you with the other thing that we know is important, which is less is more. You think you've got 20 minutes to communicate, then you've got 10 minutes, then somebody says, we've run out of time, we've only got 5 minutes. Could you just tell us the important points?
Yes. Which often makes me quite cross, because I think, hang on, I've got so much to share, give me space to do that. But so often you're brought into a meeting where people have overrun the time you thought you had, just as you said, you haven't got any more. And I don't know why I have that resistance to, I don't want to skip any of the detail, because you need to know how much I know. Then I will have a better reputation. That is it, isn't it?
Yeah. Look at all the amazing work I've done, and let me walk you through all of this.
Yes.
And then I'll give you the present at the end.
And actually, I think the lesson is, the more succinct you can make your message, the more you're likely to influence people to say yes to the thing that you're asking them for or to do. And that executive summary of 1 or 2 sentences, as long as there is the trust behind it that you've done the work, is the thing. That's all that people need to know. But it's hard work to do that, isn't it? What's the Mark Twain?
It was the I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have the time.
Yes. Yeah.
So importantly here, knowing that if you want to get a message across, whoever it is to, you need to take a lot more time to work out how to do that. And particularly when you wanted to engage people and you want people to buy into what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Very important. In terms of the takeaways from today, then, I think that's the biggest one, isn't it? Which is time to condense that into that. Takes
funnel it
time.
down. Yes. Yeah. But it's worthwhile.
Yes.
So even if you feel like you're being asked to dumb something down because it doesn't need all the information, actually the act of distilling it will make it clearer in your mind as well as for everybody else that you're working with. And ultimately that's better. Less is more.
Yes, and beware, tap into the resistance in yourself. So notice it, but use it, because actually that's the thing where you're getting your skills honed and you're really being able to crystallise the thing.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to do that.
Good. Okay.
That's it for today. Thank you for joining us today. If you're interested in any of the tools or approaches that we discussed, you'll find them on theaccidentalmanager.com. We'd love to know what you think and any experiences that you have that you're happy to share. Please leave a message for us on www.neural.space. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. We'll see you next time.